Welcome to today's lesson, which is about dividing decimal numbers by decimal numbers. The goals of today's lesson are that you can find the quotient of two decimals in two different ways. One, by converting the numbers to fractions, and another way is by long division. And also that you will be able to explain how multiplying the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10 can help you find a quotient of two decimals. So let's start with 0.96 divided by 0.4, and we'll convert to fractions first. We have 96 1/100ths divided by 4/10ths. And you saw in a previous unit, or you learned, that dividing by a fraction can be done by multiplying by its reciprocal. So we've got 96 hundredths, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 4/10ths, which is 10/4. And now to do the math here, to make the numbers easier to work with, I'm going to look for common factors in the dividend and the divisor. And I can see that I have 10 in the dividend and 100 in the divisor, with a common factor of 10. So I'm going to divide 10 by 10, which is 1, and 100 by 10, which is 10. And it just gives me easier numbers to work with. So now when I multiply across the dividends, 96 times 1 is 96, and 10 times 4 is 40. And I can do long division and divide 96 by 40, or I can simplify the numbers further. I can divide both by 10 and get 9.6 divided by 4 divided by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down the 6. And we've got 9, so we've got a decimal point here. And we've got 16. 4 times 4 is 16. And we're done. So the answer is 2.4. We can multiply the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10. We saw in an earlier lesson that 6 divided by 3 is equivalent to 60 divided by 30, because we multiplied both 6 and 3 by 10, or 600 divided by 300 when we multiplied both by 100. So let's use that to divide 0.8 by 0.2. Let's multiply them both by 10, and we will have 8 divided by 2. So we're going to multiply both of these by 10. 8 divided by 2 is equivalent to 0.8 divided by 0.2, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So multiply both your dividend and your divisor by the same power of 10. So what power of 10 should you use? Here we have 96 divided by 0.4, or 0.96, sorry, divided by 0.4. Should I multiply both by 10 or by 100? So let's start off by multiplying by 10. And we get 9.6 divided by 4, because the decimal point will move one place to the right when we multiply by 10. So 9.6 divided by 4. If we were to multiply both by 100, we would have 96 divided by 40, and that would also work. So we could use either, but the easier one to use is this first one here, where we multiply by 10, just the numbers are smaller, so it's just a simpler problem to work with. You need to multiply by whatever power of 10 will give you a whole number in your divisor. So your divisor was originally a decimal, 0.4. So multiply it by 10 gives you 4. You can divide by 4. You could continue and multiply by 100 and get 40, but there's no need to do that. You can stop when your divisor is a whole number. And the key thing to remember is to multiply your numerator and your denominator by the same power of 10, multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 10. Let's look at another example. 0.56 divided by 0.4. So if we multiply by 10, we'll get, we move the decimal points over to the right once in each number, we'll get 5.6 divided by 0.4. Our divisor is not a whole number, so we need to multiply by a larger power of 10. I'm going to multiply by 100. 0.56 multiplied by 100 is 56. Divided by 0.04 multiplied by 100 is 4. And so now that our divisor is a whole number, we can do the long division problem. 56 divided by 4. So 5 divided by 4 is 1. And then bring down the 6. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So 0.56 divided by 0.04 is equal to 14. And we were able to do that calculation by first making sure that our divisor was a whole number. So to summarize, to divide decimal numbers, multiply your divisor by as many tens as necessary until you get a whole number, and remember to multiply the dividend by the same number of tens. So today you saw how to find the quotient of two decimals by converting the numbers to fractions and by long division, and you can see how to multiply the dividend and divisor by the same power of 10 to help you calculate the quotient of two decimals. And that's the end of today.